wearing comfortable shoes.
Hey kids, this is Kalir.
And it's Safari.
Here
and
we
I am
are.
wearing comfortable shoes.
My shoes are dang comfy. But yeah, we're playing Shovel Knight.
Wait, what?
We're playing
Again?
Shovel Knight. This is definitely Shovel Knight and not some other game.
I mean, you can jump.
Oh yeah, I can jump. That's our shovel blade right there.
You strike the earth.
Exactly.
They know we're here.
Oh no, they got Shield Knight. That's not Shield Knight.
Where'd everybody go?
Oh man, Black Knight's gonna show up next.
Well, we're gonna get you
Okay,
out.
so what are we
It
about
says
to learn?
the process wiped him out.
We are not going to get this guy as a function. This is the only guy in the game who does not give a function. He is just... There's nothing left to even derive a function from.
This lady again.
You know, I'm trying to think, like,
She brought help.
what would happen if you got processed so hard that you didn't even have enough of your soul or whatever it is left to provide a function?
I think at that point you would probably just become a part of the process, but this early on, there's going to be something later in this video that will either answer that question or raise even more questions. And for now, I just want to see explosions. Like, really.
Bounce, explode.
Still kicking.
Loaded.
Ah, the young lady.
Yeah, young ladies will, whenever they're hit and not stunned, as I mentioned, they'll leave little shadow copies of themselves, so that's what all that noise is. I'm also using bounce as an attack now to just, well, if it hits something and there's something else nearby, it'll bounce and hit something else.
Which, against young ladies, is actually really quite useful.
Yeah. Also, when they're defeated, young ladies will drop a ton of cells, which, since turn is not very useful against them, what I like to do is to save it for after I've defeated them, and then just run around and grab as many cells as I can reach.
Interesting. See, I never really concerned myself with the bad cells. I never felt like bad cells were enough of a threat to warrant anything more than just kind of like collaterally damaging them to death.
You'd think that, but I actually found out something about bad cells. Is that when they do their self-destruct move, that actually will slow Red down for a bit as she's hit with it.
You know, there's probably a decent chance that I never realized that and let it.
I didn't even realize it until I was looking back through this video.
Yeah, and I'm also thinking that this was during my learning process where I was like, whoa, I'm not very good at this game.
What is even happening, you guys? Okay, but yeah, look here.
Huh. Yeah, wow, gosh. I don't even think I realized that they could do that to begin with.
Think I know where this one went.
It's a pretty heavy slowdown effect, too. The passive effect of Crash, once we get that slot unlocked, will prevent that from happening. It'll also prevent another status thing that won't show up for a while, but being able to block that is nice enough on its own. Anyway, let's scramble our functions a bit
Make things interesting.
and learn about Preston Moyle, even though I already posted about him in the thread.
You know, I actually didn't know that that passive crash prevented against status effects.
Yeah. I mean, it's... The defense boost probably isn't as good as some of the other just passive be stronger things, but having the ability to block status effects is really handy sometimes. Like, more so even in my opinion than having it as an actual function that you attack with, but it's still good in that way, especially on something like Bounce or Spark.
Yeah, because getting slowed in this game is such a detriment.
It tends to go badly.
It goes
Anyway.
very poorly.
I'm gonna go with just 3 functions here. Considering what's coming up, that's a little bit of a liability, but not much.
What's the good word?
So it goes. I also have Spark with Jaunt applied as an upgrade because Spark is one of the few functions that I feel is actually better outside of turn than in it.
Everyone calm.
Yeah, definitely, because it's so fast.
It's fast, it hits a good area, it doesn't do a lot of damage, but honestly you don't care, because you'll just be like, boom, those things explode. Don't worry, we were not mugged or whatever no, we were totally mugged.
Yeah, let's keep looking.
Oh, it's okay, we're not dead. We have a sword that's talking to us. It's telling us everything is going to be okay. We're not sure if it believes what it's saying, but whatever.
We never missed a shot.
It's awfully convincing, at least. The evolution of the use of the QVC terminals through the game was probably one of my favorite things.
It's interesting what the game will do with them. You wouldn't think it's like, oh, it just gives you little logbook things like we're playing Bioshock or, but no. Bioshock is baby tier compared to this. There's another access point over here because I don't know. We don't need it.
Gotta be a leader.
Well, the game throws access points at you because it wants to make sure that you're not having to repeat combat. And
Pulls a little bit.
for a little while, I made the mistake of being so confident in my loadout that I wouldn't access the access points, and so I would get sent back multiple screens occasionally if I made a mistake.
Yeah, that would suck.
They never had
Yeah,
a chance
even if you don't think that you're going to need to change your loadout, always hit every access point that you find.
Let's get back to
Yeah.
it.
They do serve another point, another benefit aside from just being able to change things, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Right now,
Also-
we're gonna go plot.
And also, you haven't died yet.
Nah. Yeah. I'm pretty good at the game. I'm not the best. I'm pretty good.
No scope. No,
Everyone
no scope flourish.
360 no turn.
Everyone except for them.
Yes, that makes sense. Shut up.
So you don't have the ability to hum until you get to this point, do you?
Nope. Alright. Time for an important cutscene. It'll give us a little bit of what has actually been happening.
When you speak, I hear silence. Every word a defiance. I can hear, oh, I can hear. Think I'll go where it suits me. Moving now to the country. With everyone, oh everyone, before we all become
So that music was actually used in the trailer. The
I was going to
trailer
say
game
that.
thing.
I remember the very first info release trailer of this, hearing that song and just absolutely losing it, just going just flipping out with how incredible it sounded. And the other really awesome thing is that if you listen to the whole song, say on Spotify, which you can do, it is very similar to Bastion in that the lyrics to the song tie into what is going on in the game in an incredible way. The bit about we all become one. It's speaking about the process.
Oh. Look at you. You're alive. Me, I'm not so sure. Hey, say something already. Say something, will you? Oh no.
Oh no.
And that's where we were when we started the game. And here's where we are now.
She's here.
And who is that?
Look who it is.
Process 98%. That doesn't sound good.
Let's see. But disposition's still meticulous.
You.
I'm not so sure this is a good sign.
Lost her damn mind.
Alright, so welcome to the first boss of the game. Against Sybil.
Sybil Rees. one of, I guess we can probably say it, since we saw it in the cutscene, Camerata.
You'll recognize the parasol and hat she's got going on. We also saw her trying to organize a fashion week, but at this state, she's not looking too good.
Yes, she has, I suppose, become one, if you will. And you find out more about her through her process file, of course.
Right.
But
whoa,
gosh, I'm
hunted
really
that packet clean away.
You know, part of me wants to talk about what's about Sybil and how she feels about things and why she did what she did. But I'm also not 100% sure that it would be wise to get to speak of such things yet.
Well, I'll definitely bring up anything I can about her in the thread once we actually get her function, which, spoilers not spoilers, we will be getting her function at the conclusion of this fight.
I was gonna say, yeah, I do believe that every major character, and then some, has their own function.
Yes. Alright, so, as you can see, her boss fight is like the enemies in Bastion. She's very simple in her pattern. When you first are fighting her, she'll do one lunge. Now that she's been taken down once, she does 2 lunges consecutively. And she goes fast and far with those lunges, so generally I try to keep my distance when I'm using turn. Here I clearly do not care.
I distinctly recall.
To my detriment.
Oh, and there we go. First death.
That's not a death, that's an overload. They're different.
This is true, because the game is similar, I guess, in a way to Bastion. It's very forgiving in how it handles actually dying or not dying, as the case may be, in that you have to lose all of your functions.
Yes, every time that you are defeated, you will overload one of your functions, and it will be gone for at least a couple access points. I am a brave hero.
I was gonna say, you're being attacked by birds, apparently.
The bird is here to support us, but yeah, you see the little golden bracket over our spark function right now? Where that bracket is determines which function you have that will overload next. This usually goes for the one that has the highest memory cost, or in the case of, there's some exceptions, like if you don't have something that has a direct mode of attack, then it will overload those first rather than depriving you of something that can actually fight.
Interesting. Okay, see, I thought that it was solely derived from whichever one was using the highest mem function.
Also worth noting is if you take fatal damage while turn is prepared, it will kind of do a life wind sort of thing where you drop to 1 health and immediately go into turn as a last-ditch self-defense thing.
Which is extraordinarily awesome.
It is very helpful. Of course, if you're one of the new players who's like, I'm just going to use turn all the time, you'll never even see it.
That's true, because like I found that it very useful. Like, it's very important to, if you're playing with, I guess what you would call the higher difficulty levels, it's important to allow yourself that buffer zone so that things don't get completely out of hand and you find yourself in a very bad spot without any kind of ability to handle it.
Right. Alright, so I don't want to go too overboard on offense here, because she's about to do her lunges, so crash her with bounce, throw a couple sparks, and then get out of there. Trying to make her hit the walls too, so she doesn't cover as much ground.
I remember being astonished that I beat this fight. I think it was on my first try.
Yeah, this is, I think the devs wanted you to at least overload one of your functions in this fight.
That sounds entirely reasonable.
But we only lost the one, and now we've won.
Not again.
Well, almost.
You know what would be terrible if those cells...
They don't seem to have a timer on them, so now it's just her in this state.
Her trace.
Disposition still meticulous.
Hello again,
So
son.
that's not processed anymore, so this is what's left of her trace.
I want you to tell us where they are. Do you understand?
With any luck, it's time to level up.
Yep. And here's her function. Don't mind if I do. By the way, this is one of my favorite functions right here, help. And
It's
we
definitely
got
one of the most fun ones.
we got a bonus too, an authenticator.
One of the few special
We got our
functions.
We're going downtown. The process will be waiting for us.
All right.
Where to now, Chief?
We're done here in the empty set. Nothing left for us anymore, so it's time to take the first raft out of here, or boat, or whatever the hell. Why did I say raft? I'm good at words.
Ferry.
Anyway, we've got help. As you can see, load is overloaded. We cannot use it at all. But hey,
It will recover at the next access point that we reach.
yes. And no time like the present to start bringing in load. I mean, not load, help. Although we are starting to brush up against our memory cap, because help is our most expensive function so far.
She was bad news from the first.
Yeah, you know what, mysterious narrator? I think that is a subjective opinion.
Yeah, I think even outside of the whole Camerata thing, I think that the voice in our sword didn't really like Sybil a lot to begin with.
That is a reasonable opinion to take. Oh, puppy.
Yep, help lets us summon puppies. We are now a puppy mancer, and it is great. But we gotta actually show you how this thing handles in combat, because it is a whole different thing from what you might be expecting.
It adds a whole new fun layer to the game.
And like almost all the other functions.
Sybil was their eyes and ears.
So these guys.
Got close
Yep.
to you. To us.
One of their numbers down.
They were hunting people. Don't know for what. But
Now there's just 3 people left and their cat.
I bet I know who does.
And all those birds sitting on all those piers.
Can ask him why.
Eh,
And I have
those
a feeling
are
it's
birds. We don't know what they are.
That is a very good point.
Alright.
close as the river's gonna take us.
Alright, so where are we now?
Alright, we are near the high-rise towers, I think. Which is where Red's apartment is.
Chance to rest your feet too.
And I believe that we are on the way towards what? The bracket tower?
The high rise should be right around
If I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, but first things first, we gotta get to high-rise.
These are new. Get
We have
him.
to go
Hello.
chill on it for a minute.
Taking snapshots.
So, Puppy Mancy, 101.
Puppy Mancy.
Press Q to use friend.
Alright, we may now control our dog freely. It has only one attack, which is bark, and it can move around, and it takes up very little time on the turn meter when it moves around. This is in addition to our own turn, which we can do whatever the hell we want with.
Being able to add a secondary aggro target and
Process.
agent
Still a
in the
step
combat changes things immensely.
It is a very helpful function, but it has a cost. You cannot use help if you used it within the last 10 seconds, not counting turn usage. And if turn is recharging, the dog cannot attack. It'll just kind of walk around and take hits for you.
What do we have here?
Really? That I did not know.
You tend to notice this when you rely on it a lot. And I'm not gonna lie, help was probably my function of choice for almost the whole game.
And you know what's funny is I didn't even really think it was all that valuable until you told me about just how awesome it could
Don't
possibly
know what I
be.
was expecting, but
And then I started using it and I
it
was like,
wasn't
whoa.
this.
Okay, so another difference between Bastion and this game is, in Bastion, after every level, you went back to the Bastion, you built stuff, you upgraded stuff, whatever. In this game, you don't do that.
You have
But-
a beach party.
Yes, there's places throughout the game where you can stop into the... I don't think this place has an exact name. It's called Back Door on the map.
I think they're
But
called like rest areas or something.
maybe. In any case, this is where like the equivalent of the who knows where tests are, and basically this is just an outside extra area of the game. I'm only going to do the one place that's already open right now just to give you an idea of what to expect, but I'm not going to go through these areas for the main run of the game. I'll save them for post-game after we've gone through and done all the other stuff.
Some of these tests get pretty gnarly.
Right. And in the case of some of them, like the performance test, which is just the same thing but more so the further you go, I'm only going to show the last one.
Really? Yeah. I guess they're all kind of.
Try door number 1.
Speed test, though, I'll just show this one now, because the speed tests are all different.
Yeah, the speed tests were fun.
Alright, so all the tests have their own different kind of objective you have to do, kind of like the Proving Grounds. In this case,
Water.
we're given functions from the word go, assigned in ways that we can't change. We have, I believe, crash with a breach component, and bounce, but with a mask upgrade, which we don't have mask yet, so we don't really have a good chance to use it outside of here. But in our case, I believe that mask will boost the backstab damage of bounce,
Yes.
which I don't really care about backstabbing with it. That'd take effort. I'll just shoot lasers.
Yeah, the first one isn't very difficult, but it does bring you into what is expected of you. The speed tests demand that you understand the intricate properties of the functions that they give you, and being able to exploit every single last drop of power you can. But the
Right.
other fun thing is that they serve as a way to expose you to function combinations that you may not have considered beforehand.
Right. Like, we don't even have mask right now. This is our first exposure to it in the game, and to be honest, I'm not really using it how I should be, but it could actually save you a lot of time here if you take the time to walk behind the creeps and then bounce and do way more damage than you were expecting.
Because backstabs do more damage in and of themselves, and with doubling with like 50% more backstab damage, you are getting so much more per usage outside of turn or in turn.
Alright, but that'll do it for this area, and I'll get to the next access point and then I'll call it a day, because honestly this video has already been over 20 minutes as is. I was expecting to just go through the civil fight and call it good, but then this happened before I reached another access point. So
I guess we should touch on one of the other things about the space between the hammock.
Hello, what's this?
You used it earlier, and what it is it kind of plays into the theme of this being a rest area. It allows you to the mysterious narrator gives his opinions and thoughts on the things that are happening, kind of gives you a review,
right.
and speculates more into the deeper questions of the game. Also, you can throw a beach ball around.
Throw the beach ball.
Who doesn't love that?
But yeah, we'll be back here. We won't be doing a whole lot in here until the post game. You can handle this as much as it opens up, but I'm just gonna take things at my own pace and save all that for the post game things.
Yeah, you don't really get terribly much out of it. I mean, you do get experience from going through each of the tests, which can be helpful. But unless you're trying to go for like 100% achievements, you, I guess, don't necessarily. Ooh, excellent.
This is definitely going to have to wait until next time for a full explanation. But to sum it up briefly, these are like the idols in Bastion. They do
exactly
stuff.
like the idols. Some of them, even more so than in Bastion, some of them are more suited to not being obnoxious than others. Which one did you just activate?
This one will shield cells whenever they spawn, which on its own, not a big deal. Oh, we got load back, by the way, and we're running out of time, by the way, and I really hope process doesn't show up as soon as we get out of here, because that would just be ridiculous.
I guess I can talk about how much I load.
It happened! This is all your fault.
No!
Okay, no, we're leaving. We're leaving now. Bye.
No, bye. Y'all take care.